too. I mean, at home you're a little bit more comfortable. You're probably playing with a lead more.
Yeah, and then on the road, it's like, oh god, I gotta make a play.
Yeah.
All right, I started the live, so we are live.
We're live. We are live. What's going on, everybody? It's Toasty back in action. Sorry about yesterday, little technical difficulties and whatnot. And then at the same time, they were busting out some NBA videos. It is what it is. Trust me, you didn't miss anything. VIP lost about 3 units last night after a couple banger nights. I mean, it is what it is. I was probably wrong side on like Akron and North Carolina kind of hurt. I think that they probably should have covered that game. But again, Indiana played really, really well in front of their home crowd. That's one of the Bloomington's one of the better places to play in the country. So it happens. But yeah, we move on. We got some games here today we're going to talk about. Most of these are going to be leans for me. Not to be that guy that says you have to pay to come see me, but these 5 games are the best 5 games on the board. So that's what we're going to talk about. But not huge plays. So all these would be like just half a units. I just wanted to throw that out there. Just not a ton of value on the board today. But let's kick it off with this Arizona and Utah game. Arizona, one of the teams in the country that I personally think is one of the better teams in the country. I don't know if you have a better 4-5 combo in the country than Tubelis and Omar Ballo. Ballo used to play for the Zags. It kills me every time I see him and Tommy killing it with each other. He was the MVP of the tournament down in Maui. A lot of good things to see from this Arizona team. 8th in average height, so they're long and lengthy. Number 1 in 2-point field goal percentage. Number 3 in adjusted offensive efficiency, according to Ken Palm. So a lot of good things to look at with this Arizona Wildcats team, but not so fast with this, with just taking the 5.5 with Arizona. Utah has some players as well, and at the same time, they play defense well. Ken Palm has them 56th in the country in adjusted defensive wise, everything. All those numbers for Ken Palm are adjusted, just so you guys know. Really good at limiting effective field goal percentage. They're number 3 in the country at that. Number 1 in the country at offensive field goal percentage, the Arizona Wildcats. Utah, the one thing that bothers me a little bit, they do have the height to stay with Arizona and stuff like that on the boards. They aren't the best rebounding team. Another thing that I like about getting points with Utah with this Arizona team is that they turn the ball over a lot. Arizona defense doesn't force a lot of turnovers. Well, they don't really turn the ball over. And then they also turn the ball over a lot on the offensive end. So if Utah is hitting shots, they should be all right. Guys like Brendan Carlson, he's like a 7-footer. I love watching him. Gabe Madison's on that team. Pretty good. They got some snipers too. I'm going to take the points with Utah. 6.5. That's a lot of points. It's at home. This is going to be Arizona's probably first true road game. Well, it is their first true road game of the year. Yes, I understand they went and played in a neutral court tournament, but being on the road in Utah, Utah is just a hard place to play in general. So I'm going to take this 6.5 with the Utah Utes here tonight. I think Arizona probably wins. I just think this is a pretty close game. Utah, like I said, hard place to play. Excuse me. UCLA and Stanford. This lines came down to 5.5, and I know that because I just bet it. So UCLA minus 5.5 for me. If you can't get 5.5, I would wait. I wouldn't lay 6 just because 6, there's like that push thing at 6, and I just don't love it. So if you can get 5.5, take it. There's plenty of 5.5s out there. I really like this UCLA team. But let's talk about Stanford first, because I'm sure a lot of people know about UCLA. Stanford is legit, guys. Like, Stanford is long. They're athletic. They're the 4th longest team in the country. Coach Jared Hass is a pretty damn good coach. I understand that they're 2-4 or 2-6 on the year or whatever that is. But at the same time, they can cause a lot of matchup problems. But the reason I just wanted to touch on that, because Stanford isn't just an automatic fade. They're actually one of the teams that if you're getting like double digits and they're at home and stuff, I want to get a play on them. Defensively, they're very sound. Offensively, not so much. But this is more about a play on UCLA for me. They looked pretty bad against Illinois and Baylor. And then they've came out their last two games against Pepperdine and Bellarmine and just absolutely smashed. I talked about before with Ballo and Tubelis, the best 1-2 combo, our best 4-5 combo in the country. One of the better guards / wing players in the country is Jaime Jaquez and Tiger Campbell. And then you add on guys like Amir Bailey and Jalen Clark. And then that kid, Adima Bona or whatever, that freshman. It's just there's a lot of talent on this UCLA roster. 8th in adjusted efficiency, 27th in effective field goal percentage. They don't turn the ball over. They're 12th in turnover percentage. Until this team shows me that they can't play against bigger teams, I just don't hold Stanford and in the same breath as I do Baylor and Illinois. Stanford's length could be a problem, but like I said, I like guys like Tiger Campbell and them to get into their spots and get some open shots. Everything with this UCLA offense is almost green, except for the free throws as far as how many they get, but as far as their actual free throw percentage, it's at 70%. It's 177 in the nation. Nothing to hang your hat on, but at least it's not red. So Bruins minus the 5.5 for me. Game of the night here. Texas and Creighton. Texas laying 5.5. I think I want to check the money. I'm going to check the money really quick while I'm talking about this, because if all the money is on Texas, I'll probably take Creighton at 6.5. But it's not. It looks like 64% of the money is on Creighton. So I would lean Texas. I don't love 6.5 as a number in general, just like I talked about with the UCLA game. I'd really like 5.5. Like that would be the number that I would really love. 6 would really be pushing it. But at 6.5, I lean Texas. Nothing against Creighton. I actually really like this Creighton team. But the issue with me is Texas is deep. And they're very good. They're very well coached. And the one thing that Creighton isn't is deep. They have a very good starting 5 with Kalkbrenner and Kaluma and Baylor Shireman and Ryan Nemhard. And I'm forgetting Trey Alexander's the 5th one. All those guys are really good. But after that, the drop-off is just significant. And when you're playing a team like Texas, it's really hard for me to get behind us when you got guys like Tyrese Hunter, Marcus Carr, Dylan Mitchell, Dylan Dessou, Christian Bishop, Brock Cunningham, the Shabari Rice kid. Did I say Christian Bishop? I hope I did. Either way, they're just loaded. The third best defense in Ken Palm. They're holding their offensive. They're holding teams offensively to effective field goal percentage of 39%. That's good for 4th in the country. Offensively, they don't shoot the 3 ball very well. I mean, they did against Gonzaga. We all saw that. Jeez Louise. But overall, 30% on the year. They don't shoot the 3 ball very well, but it hasn't hurt them. They're winning games, and their 2-point field goal percentage is at 64%. That's good for 3rd in the country. They take the ball away on offense. They don't really turn the ball over on defense. They get up and down the floor. They're 32nd in average possession length. Lean Texas, like I said, the play's Texas. There's no question about that. It's just if you can get a decent number at 6.5, it's probably like a half unit lean, if anything. At 5.5, it's probably like a full unit play for me. So that's exactly where my head's at. If you want to look live, do that. But yeah, that's where my head's at on that one, guys. And I would probably play the under as well at 139, 140 area. I would definitely look towards the under as well. Arizona State, Colorado. A couple weird things. I mean, this is going to be a weird game. I'm going to lay it with Colorado. I don't love it. And the only reason I don't love it is I do think that they're the side. I really do. But the issue that I have is Arizona State's going through some shit right now in their program. Marcus Bagley's probably one of their best players, if not their best player, besides Frankie Collins. And he's going through some stuff. He's been tweeting some stuff. He's not going to be playing tonight. I guess he said some things to Coach Hurley. It's just a weird situation to be in with that Arizona State team. They went out and they lost to Texas Southern, their third game of the year, and then they've been kind of on a tear since then, beating VCU, Virginia, Grambling State, and Alcorn State. Again, none of those teams are, huge teams that you're like, oh my gosh, huge wins. But if this Michigan they really throttled Michigan. Defensively, it's where it's at for them. Second in the country at holding opponents to a 37.6 effective field goal percentage. Like I said, that's best for second in the country. Don't let you shoot threes. They're third in three-point percentage as well. They don't really take the ball away that much. But again, Colorado, on the other hand, they're very up and down. But again, it's just really hard for me to take it with Arizona with all the stuff going on in their program. Tad Boyle, they're playing at home, so I get Colorado. Kind of like Utah, it's a hard spot to go and play. Offensively, they're not very great, but I do think that they're going to be able to get some points on the board because they don't hold on to the ball very long. 15th in average possession length, getting up and down the floor. I think that helps. I also think that kind of skews some of their numbers early on. It's all about KJ Simpson and that Neek Clifford kid. Simpson's probably the guy, but defensively, it's where it's at, and that's where I think that we're going to, with Bagley out, I think that's where we have our advantage here today. 48th in adjusted efficiency on defense for Colorado. They do everything pretty well defensively. Like I said, it's at home with with Arizona State dealing with a whole bunch of, let's just call it locker room issues. I just don't really like the spot for Arizona, so I'm going to lay it with Colorado. If you could do like a Colorado / Texas like money line parlay, and I don't know what those odds are, but that might be sneaky decent. I don't know, but just throwing that out there. Cougars, Ducks. Let's talk about it. This one's kind of easier for me. I just think this is a little bit short of a price on this Oregon team. So I'm going to take them minus the 4. First things first, you look at them and you see loss. But at the same time, those losses were to a UC Irvine team that's pretty damn decent for a mid-major. They shouldn't be losing to them, but they're a decent team. They're top 100, top 80 in KenPom-ish, so that's pretty decent. They lost to Houston, who you're going to lose to every time you play. UConn, who I just bet over the weekend after what we saw in Portland to win the national championship at 6,600. So obviously that's an okay loss. And then they lost to Sparty as well. And then they come back and play Villanova. So that's the one thing that really jumps out to me is their strength of schedule and the teams that they've played. 19th best in the country. So you got to give them a little bit of credit for that. The one thing that concerns me with them is the free throw shooting. It's at 61.5% right now. But they have Will Richardson and that Nafele Dante, or I don't know how he says his name, but all these guys are Quincy Guerrier. All these guys are seniors. I would assume the free throw shooting gets better. They are at home here today. They are the one other thing that I really like about Oregon, number 1 in the nation in height. So they're long, lengthy. A couple things about Washington State. Kyle Smith is a coach that I really, really like, and I really think this program is on the rise. It's just they got TJ Bamba and that Mohamed Gee kid. I forget how to pronounce his name. I just butchered that. I know that, and I apologize to the kid. But he's played very, very well. Just defensively, they've been really good on both sides of the ball, but they don't really force turnovers well. And I think that Oregon's length is going to cause them some trouble shooting 3-ball, and they live and die by the 3-ball. 4th in the country in 3-point percentage, and that's why I made a mention of Oregon's height. I think that's really going to force them inside the arc, where they shoot a 47.7%. That's good for 234 in the country. Not very good for the Cougars. But like I said, I think that this is going to be a nice little step down in class for Oregon. Again, no offense to the Cougs. You know I love them. I think it's a little cheap for me, so I'm going to take the Ducks here minus the points. I do not have a whale. Yeah, man. I hope you don't unsubscribe, though. I really don't. I really enjoy you on the show every single day.
I'm gone.
Next game up is Oklahoma State, UConn. I threw this extra one in there because I wanted to talk about it. I just think that everybody's going to be playing UConn, and I'm just not sure if I'm there. I just want to tell everybody to pump the brakes on the 8.5. First and foremost, the total of the game, 136, but could be even lower. Both of these teams very good defensively, both top 25 in efficiency as far as defense, according to KenPom. Obviously, the UConn offense is very good with Tristan Newton, Sanogo, Klingden, all those guys, Andre Jackson, very good offensively. Like I said, I just bet them to win the national championship. They do a really good job of pretty much everything. Why am I taking Oklahoma State then, I guess, if you're so big on Oklahoma? Because Oklahoma State can play some defense, first and foremost. 27th in the country. They haven't played anybody super good. The best team that they've played is UCF. So I know that people are like, well, I just don't even understand that. But I just really think that this Oklahoma State team is going to be good this year. They're finally free of all BS, sanctions, and all that stuff. Mike Boynton has had this team competitive even through all that drama the last couple of years. I just really like what they're doing. They play hard. It's on the road. But like I said, UConn just got done playing a 3-game stretch in Portland where they played Oregon, Alabama, and Ohio State, and they throttled all those teams. I understand they're at home, but again, I just think that like we saw with Purdue, it was all Purdue. Oh my God, they killed everybody. 90-some% of the money is on Purdue, and they were in a dogfight for Florida State tonight, that whole game. Told you so. It's not as easy as it looked. Louisville might be the only exception because they burned me the other day. Louisville is god-awful, but I still wouldn't bet them if 95% of the money is on the other side. But anyway, I think the money's flooding in on the Huskies. I get that, but it could be a little bit of a down spot at home. I got to think that Oklahoma State's going to be pretty up for this game. This is probably one of their biggest games of the year. They don't play Kansas until like New Year's. They do have Virginia Tech on the 11th, but like I said, pretty big game for Oklahoma State. So I'm going to take the 8.5 and what I think is going to be a kind of a more of a defensive battle here. I really think this game probably goes under, but like I said, I'd more than happy to take the 8.5. And that will do it for today. I appreciate you all stopping by. VIPs will be out in the next couple hours or so. Yeah, I appreciate it. Take it away.
Love y'all. Peace.